25 years ago, Catherine Puglisi dedicated the article Guido Reni's Spaglione del Voto and the Plague of 1614 to the pandemic events and to Guido Reni paintings kept in the Church of San Domenico in Bologna. In the essay, the author compared the ferocity of the bubonic plague of 1614 to the equally devastating virulence of the AIDS epidemic in the 20th century. Moving from this reading model, it is not impossible for art historians of 2020 to look at the new Great Health emergency that has hit the world of the 21st century, with particular regard to the conditioning of the social and cultural life that it has produced. With the same effectiveness as Puglisi's essay, the endless list of coronavirus deaths published on the front page of the New York Times on May 24, 2020, can be compared to the death of the dead in Vietnam and for this reason lack of a second memorial wall in black granite. In fact, the capital title reads with excited and understandable emphasis, US death near 100,000 and incalculable loss. In light of such a communicative choice, it seemed necessary to think of the coincidence with the disastrous losses and with the attitudes also held in Italy due to a virus that can be defined as an invisible enemy. One could also think of the initial bold presumption of some of our fellow citizens and rulers in facing the unknown. All this before the army exited from the barracks. All this before the squares, streets, and churches of our cities emptied, becoming in spite of themselves witness of a suspended time functional for the reports of more or less sensitive photographers. All this before the museums, as well as the countless exhibitions housed in their rooms, were closed, leaving hundreds of thousands of works orphaned to the public. Hi guys, my name is Andrea Leonardi and I teach History of Collecting as well as Museology and Museography at the University of Bari, Aldo Moro. Today, with Giuseppe Sandi and Claudia Colella, I would like to introduce you about the Museo Provinciale in Bari. For its characteristics and for its high symbolic value, I have always considered this museum one of the most important not only in the Apulian region but also in the whole South Italy. The spaces of the Ancient Museum have come back to life with an exhibition curated by me together with my colleague Luisa De Rosa. The exhibition involved lenders institutions such as Villa I Tatti, the Harvard University Center for Italian Renaissance Studies, the Central State Archive in Rome, the Pinacoteca of Bari, Corrado Giaquinto, and several others. The initiative was also an opportunity to restore many of the works on display. Well, the Italian title of this exhibition was Il Museo che non c'è, but probably was better to say the museum that is no longer there. Of course, it also had a very much more serious subtitle, Art Collecting Antiquarian Taste in the Palazzo degli Studi in Bari, 1875-1928. Maybe the title it was a bit bad because it remembered a situation sometimes forgotten. In fact, the institute hired to this ancient museum located in the same spaces, the Archaeological Museum of Bari, was closed at the beginning of the 2000 years, hoping for the opening in the promising and awaited new museum complex of Santa Scholastica. The exhibition in Bari was inaugurated on February 28th. Immediately afterwards, on the streets of our country, we saw the army. The museums and the exhibition were closed. Italy stopped before the advance of COVID-19 virus. This dramatic situation has imposed small and large renunciations. Among these, there has also been the suspension of access to the exhibition spaces, placing us before a crossroads. On the one hand, close everything waiting for better times, which we are sure will come anyway. Or, on the other, take on the impossible challenge of telling a museum that is not there anymore, the Provincial Museum of the ancient Palazzo degli Studi in Bari, with an exhibition that exists but that it was decided not to reopen. This despite many artworks returned home after almost 100 years, including a table by Antonio Vivarini, a canvas by Lorenzo Lotto, paintings by Luca Giordano Guercino, and many other objects and documents. The exhibition was open for the first 5 days only and remained planned until April 24. In the Great Hall, as the main space of the ancient Provincial Museum was called, everything remained suspended and perfectly finished. Showcases, exhibitors, paintings, statues, clay and stone art objects. However, there was no longer the possibility of letting people visit or enter. Always together with Giuseppe and Claudia, we say that it would have been wonderful to be able to reopen it, at least virtually. And so we did, involving a PhD degree in languages and arts, also the Archaeological Heritage postgraduate course, and the second-level degree in art history of the University of Bari, in an immersive and advanced teaching perspective. Exploiting our imagination, but maintaining a rigorous philological vision, this is what we are going to illustrate in our story, always setting it in the places where everything happened, giving back to the community the museum experience of 100 years earlier. The aim was to make this exhibition a clear suggestion for the near future of space fortunately still preserved, but now returned to risk after the exhibition was closed, in order to put them at the service of the cultural panorama not only in Bari, but also Southern national post-COVID-19 virus.
Hi everyone, I'm Claudia Colella and I'm attending the second year of the second level degree of Art History in the University of Bari, Aldo, Moro. Welcome to the Pinacoteca Corrado Giaquinto.
This is the museum that most carry the memory of the ancient Provincial Museum. In fact, the original collection is kept here. From this, we remember the mystical marriage of Saint Catherine by Guercino, the Deposition of Christ by Luca Giordano, the Sant'Antonio from Padua by Antonio Vivarini, that were part of our exhibition. The latter was the symbol of the entire corps of Venetian painters, which is still present here. In fact, in these rooms, it's possible to admire the other pieces of the Polyptych by Antonio Vivarini, and a little further on, the triptych by Alvise Vivarini, both entered in the frescoed rooms of Palazzo Braschi in 1891. In a room with controlled humidity, the St. Peter Martyr by Giovanni Bellini is kept. Then, in the Venetian room, we met 3 large canvas by Paris Bordon, Veronese, and Tintoretto, which came from the Cathedral of Bari and became part of the provincial collection in 1929, like the St. Peter Martyr. The considerable interest of the Venetian presences on the Apulian territory was an opportunity for study since 1934, when Michele Delia created the historical exhibition Arte in Puglia dal Tardo Antico Rococò, the subject of my degree thesis in 2019, and of a podcast that we had created for the appointment with Radio 3 Mostre Impossibili, aired on the 6th of June. In just 6 days in which the exhibition was open, my colleagues and I were able to see an enthusiastic response from the students of our university, especially from the youngest one, to whom we wanted to specify that we were trying to give back to the city memory the reality of a museum that was also born to favor the studies of the students who frequented those environments. Despite the short time that we had at our disposal, we can consider ourselves fortunate to have been able to relive the the same practical and direct approach that the museum promoted in 19th century, through the realization of the project for this exhibition. From the choice of exhibition equipment, to the writing of the catalogue, from the cleaning of spaces, to the transport of artworks, but, above all, to the surveillance and dismantling works that occurred during the lockdown, we have been involved in what, in our respects, can be called immersive teaching.
Hi, I'm Giuseppe de Sandi, and I am a PhD student in Art of History at University of Bari, Aldo Moro. At this moment, I'm in Florence, one of the cities, like Rome, where a part and study and research of the exhibition Il Museo che non c'è took place. Why Florence? Because Florence was the center in which the organization of Italian museums started to take shape. And among these museums, there was also the Museo Provinciale of Bari. Florence was also the city where Emilio de Fabris worked. He was a well-known architect of the 19th century, and he designed a tribune for the placement of Michelangelo's David at the gallery of the Academy, and the facade of Santa Maria del Fiore. Thanks to these famous works, he was called to judge the best project for the Palazzo degli Studi of Bari, the actual building that housed the Museum Provinciale of Bari. Moreover, Florence is today the city of Bernard Berenson's archive, preserved in the prestigious institution Villa I Tatti, the Harvard University Center for Italian Renaissance Studies. Bernard Berenson certainly visited the Museum of Bari in May 1907. His presence in Bari is confirmed through his signature in the museum visitor's book. Analyzing deeply Berenson's archive in Villa I Tatti, we have found a sketch of San Felice in Cattedra by Lorenzo Lotto, which Berenson discovered in April 1897 in a church in Giovinazzo, a small town near Bari. Besides, we have found other documents and descriptions of Venetian Renaissance paintings located in Puglia and Basilicata, and these last evidence were parts of the exhibition Il Museo che non c'è. The global pandemic have forced us to interrupt this exhibition, and we have wondered how to tell it in a virtual way. During the lockdown weeks, we have posted videos and information about the exhibition on Unibartes Moderna Facebook and Instagram accounts. Thanks to these posts, the virtual visitor can know the different works of art of the Museo Provinciale in Bari, according to the same order of the exhibition catalogue. Among the artworks, there were those coming from Apulian archaeological excavation, some architectural elements of the medieval cathedral in Bari, Renaissance Venetian paintings such as the Vivarini ones, and also a painting attributed to Guercino. One of the video, posted on Unibartes Moderna accounts, Professor Raphael Cassano plays the amazement described by Giuseppe Ungaretti during his visit to the museum in 1934. The format of the posted videos are in line with the methodology used for the research. We wanted to underline a close dialogue between the artworks and the documentary evidence considered in the cultural dimension. Up to now, over 4,000 users viewed our exhibition on the web. Thanks to the other web page dedicated to exhibitions such as links on the Italian Society of History of Art Criticism, Channel RTV, and the Lyceum Club of Florence web page, hundreds of people have had the possibility to visit virtually our exhibition. Another possibility to visit it was given by the podcast Mostre Impossibili offered by Radio Rai 3, in which there has been a narrative explanation of our work. Last but not least, there is this moment that allows us to reconnect an apparently local historical artics and museographic event to a contemporary national debate on the needs of rethinking museums. On behalf of my colleagues, we thank you for your attention, and if I have solicited your curiosity, I invite you to visit our social accounts or to read the exhibition catalog.